Hey guys, happy Tuesday. We're going to continue reading The Wild Robot Escapes, chapter 73, titled The Pigeons. In the very heart of the city, was a great swath of greenery, the old park. It had rolling lawns and flower gardens and dense wooded areas. It had lakes and ponds and fountains. It had playgrounds and benches and miles of cobblestone pathways. It also had pigeons. Thousands and thousands of pigeons. The city pigeons witnessed things you wouldn't believe. Nothing shocked them. They certainly weren't shocked by robots. So when Roz marched into the middle of the park, the pigeons that were there weren't troubled in the least. She approached a flock that was about 100 birds strong, all cooing and strutting across the cobblestones as if they owned the place. But as Roz stumped closer and closer, the pigeons scuttled out of the way to let her pass by. However, Roz did not pass by. She stopped and glanced around, and when she saw that she was alone with the pigeons, she started to speak to them in the language of the animals. "Hello, pigeons. My name is Roz." The pigeons cocked their heads, which meant, "Is this robot actually speaking to us?" "Yes, I am actually speaking to you," Roz continued. "I am searching for my son. He is a goose named Brightbill. Have you seen him?" For the first time in a long time, the pigeons were shocked. Several of them fluttered away from the talking robot, but most were too curious to leave. One pigeon was so curious that she strutted out from the flock right up to the robot. "Let me get this straight," said the curious pigeon. "Your name is Roz, and you've got a son named Brightbill who's a goose?" "That is correct." "I can't believe it." The pigeon flapped her wings and turned to the others. "You guys, this is Roz from Greybeak Stories, remember?" The flock began cooing excitedly. "You have heard of Greybeak?" said Roz. "Everyone's heard of Greybeak," said the pigeon. "A while back, she started telling stories of a goose whose mother was some kind of wild robot. We all thought she was joking, but I guess not." "She was not joking," said Roz. "But I have lost my son, and I do not know how to find him. Perhaps Greybeak could help. Do you know where she is?" I hate to tell you this, Roz, but Greybeak is dead." All the birds lowered their heads. "You know, life ain't easy for us pigeons. We only live a few years out here if we're lucky. But we were especially sad when we lost Greybeak. She was one of the best." The others cooed in agreement. "I am sorry for your loss," said Roz. "I wish I had gotten to meet Greybeak. My son was very fond of her." The pigeon gazed up at the robot with a steady look in her eye. "Any friend of Greybeak is a friend of ours. If Brightbill is lost, we're going to find him." She turned to the others. "You heard me, flock. Hit the skies and tell every pigeon you see to start searching for a goose named Brightbill." And at those words, the flock erupted into flight. Only the robot and the curious pigeon remained. "By the way, they call me Stretta," said the pigeon, fluttering out her chest feathers. "It is very nice to meet you, Strutter," said the robot. "Thank you for searching for Brightbill. What can I do to help?" "You can help by staying put. I want you in this park when we return with your son. Don't hide or wander off and make us go searching for you, too. Oh, and another thing," Stretta added. "Stay away from the park ranger robot. He spends most of his time taking care of the grounds, but he's always on the lookout for troublemakers." The pigeon gave a quick salute to the robot. Then she joined the search for Brightbill. Okay, so for today's activity, one of my favorite things about The Wild Robot, the first book and this book, is that we've learned a lot about different animals, and we've learned a lot about geese, like Brightbill. He's a goose. And I didn't know that I now have a love for geese after reading these books. We have a lake out in front of our house, and a couple weeks ago, I think I told you guys this before, but a couple weeks ago, the geese started migrating back to Utah and back to living in my neighborhood. And the geese are all just honking, and you can see their flocks flying over and landing on the water, and it's so cool. And it's kind of special because it's like I have this little special spot in my heart for geese now because of Brightbill and Brightbill's flock. And so I think it's been really fun. So what I really liked about chapter 73 is now we're going to learn about pigeons. So this is the picture of a pigeon. Pretty different than what our goose brightbill looks like, right? But I thought it'd be kind of fun to learn about pigeons a little bit because I don't have pigeons at my house. And maybe you guys have pigeons at yours. So if you do, that's cool. Let me know. Take a picture of one or draw a picture of one. But I'm just going to read you some interesting facts that I have researched about pigeons. So it says that they can live for 3 to 5 years. And that they are very incredibly smart and intelligent animals. They are able to recognize themselves in a mirror. So that's something that humans can do. But if you think about, like, dogs are also pretty smart. They can't recognize that it's their reflection in a mirror. Pigeons can do that. They also are extraordinary navigators, meaning they have like an internal compass and they just know right where they're going. But the cool thing is that they use landmarks as mental notes of where they are. So they'll look down and they'll say like, oh, I know that mountain. That means I need to start flying east. Or in cities, they can use different buildings as landmarks to know exactly where they're going. Pigeons will have the same mate for their whole life. So the same mom and the same dad will raise their babies together. And it says that male pigeons also share the responsibility for caring and raising the young, which is kind of neat. That's not normal in birds. Sometimes the male just flies away. They have excellent hearing abilities. They're very, very social birds, and they like to be in big flocks of at least 20 to 30. How big was the flock in The Wild Robot Escapes? They said there was like over 100 pigeons there. That's a big flock. Oh, this is a funny one. So if you live in a place where there's lots and lots of pigeons, like in a city park or kind of something like that, where you've seen a bunch of pigeons. Well, what comes with a bunch of pigeons? A bunch of pigeon poop, right? And it's seen as pretty gross and yucky. But a long time ago, pigeon poo was extremely valuable. It was viewed as the best available fertilizer. So people would want it to put in their gardens. So can you imagine if pigeon droppings were valuable now? I'm sure it's probably still good to put in your gardens, but I don't think we pay a whole lot for pigeon droppings. Many different religions hold pigeons as sacred and very, very special. Yeah, so I thought those were some fun, interesting facts about pigeons. So I want you guys to research pigeons, maybe watch a fun little YouTube video on it, or just research some facts, or maybe go outside and do an observation, see if you see any pigeons, and write down something that you learned about them or you didn't know about pigeons before. Maybe you could find out what they eat or where they live. Yeah, and if you want to take it a step farther, write down on what we know about geese and what we know about pigeons and how are they the same and how are they different. So maybe make a little comparison. A Venn diagram would be really cool. So, all right, guys, we'll see you tomorrow.